Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about designing better programs. So often you hear me talking about building teams, scaling, or streamlining operations and systems, but I don't talk enough about program design, I think. And this is one of the most important fundamental things for nonprofits to be focused on, as well as for-profit businesses, right? A good program is good for everybody. So, and specifically, there's a few side benefits of having well-designed programs. Well-designed programs are easier to run and deliver. They are easier to improve because you're never going to get it right the very first time out of the box. And they are easier to explain to funders and supporters, as well as the people who are thinking about joining those programs. Okay, so let's dive in. I like to keep these short, but we can do an extended Q&A one-on-one, or if you want to send me some comments or leave some comments in the chat, I will dive into them. So 4 steps to designing great programs. They're easier to run, easier to improve, and easier to explain to potential participants and donors. And with these 4 steps, I want to tell you that number 4 needs to be done last. And it is almost always the one and only step that folks take in designing programs. So stick around. You don't want to miss number 4 and why it belongs where it does. All right, what's the real first step in designing a great program? The first step is identifying the problem that you are trying to solve. What is exactly that you are creating the solution for? So are you trying to keep pets in their homes? Are you trying to take somebody who is in danger and make them safe? Are you trying to take somebody who is unhoused and give them stable, consistent, affordable housing? What is it, right? It's going to be different for every organization. Once you have gotten clear on the problem you're trying to solve, you are ready for step 2. Step 2 is to define what done looks like for the client, right? So the person who's in the program, in the context of that program, right? What is the point at which they are done, right, in your program? So perhaps you're trying to solve a bigger problem and your program is only going to be half that journey. So define what done looks like for the client in the context of being in their program. What state should they be in? What frame of mind should they be in? What new knowledge should they have? Whatever it is that you're trying to change or help solve with them, how do you know that your program was successful? This does not mean done is when they completed the 7 modules, right? We're not at modules yet, by the way. If you have modules already or pieces of the program, take a moment temporarily. You can borrow one of my fire buckets, just set them aside in the garbage or on the side of your desk, whatever you need for the moment, because I really want you to not think about them when you do this. So what is the new condition that they are in, the new state of being that they're in when this program is successfully completed by them? All right, now we're going to go to the other side and we're going to get clear on what qualified to start looks like, right? So what kinds of people are qualified to start your program? What perhaps pre-existing condition or situation, right? Do they need a certain amount of experience? Do they need to have done X, Y, and Z? Does the nature of their problem need to be a certain level of acuteness, right? So really get clear on who is qualified to enter your program. And for a bonus step, this is going to be related to marketing your program. Who is the best audience to go after marketing, right? So maybe your program serves anybody who's a victim of domestic violence, but your program is really, really a great fit for trans women. Okay, right? So I could use any example here. So while you might welcome everybody, you might focus your limited marketing capacity on those folks who your program is going to be the best fit for. All right, that's your bonus step. We'll call it 3.5. That's for marketing, right? There is always, I get this huge like, oh, but we serve everybody. You can serve everybody, but you still need to market to somebody specific. And that somebody should be the type of person who your program is going to benefit the most, or they're going to feel the most supported by your program. All right. Are you ready for step number 4? Step number 4 is where you map the path from start to done. This is where you get to think about what are the services? What are the supports? What is the training, right? What are the pieces? And as you map that, a few pro tips here for you. Don't let your pre-existing thoughts that you started before you came to this 4-step process that I'm giving you, don't try to like backfill, right? Let your mind be open to new possibilities. One way to do this is just imagine I've taken my little magic wand. Today I'll use my glasses, right? Here's my magic wand. Boop. I have just bestowed you with lots of money. It's all unrestricted. It's plenty to do what you'd really love to do, right? So don't be like, oh, well, we can't do that because we'll never get the funding for it. So let yourself be open to what you'd really like to do. You can always pull back, or you can use that story, be like, here's version A based on the resources we have now, but now I'm going to go and talk to my donors and say, hey, we're going to launch version A now, but version C is where we're really going. And that's where we need your help because it's going to take a little more money. So that's one tip I have for you. Another tip I have for you is map out the path and then start throwing scenarios at it and see if you can refine. Can it be done in fewer steps? Are there things that don't really move the needle and can be taken away? Is there one thing that if you had that in place first, it would make everything else part of the program work even better? How can we give people a quick win or a quick success? How can we make what is the emotional journey we'd like our clients to experience, right? So there's the steps that you're going to take them through, but then if you think about how are they feeling and how would you like them to feel? So how does this go? Often, when I map this out with folks, it's like a client comes in feeling really anxious. Well, we'd like them to feel safe and comfortable and open to learning, right? So then we can go, okay, what things need to do to help them feel the way we'd like to feel? Or maybe there's a part in your program where people are waiting and people feel anxious when they're waiting, right? So let's add in a touch point that makes them feel really good. Or maybe there's a piece in your program that's prone to being a gap, someplace people could fall through, like when they transition from working with one person to working with another person, right? How can we make sure people don't fall through that gap by creating redundancies or warm handoffs, empowering the client with the information they need to self-advocate for themselves, whatever it is? Hope I'm giving you lots of ideas. I love this work of program design. So if you're thinking, oh my God, Sarah, let's sit down and redesign my programs, I encourage you to reach out, pivotground.com/application, where you can tell me a little more about what's going on for you, and we'll get on a call and talk about it one-on-one, because your programs are how you make an impact. And having better programs is like a triple win because they're usually more effective, right? More impact. We love that. They're usually more efficient, meaning for the amount of energy, time, and money that we put into running them, we get even the relationship of impact that we get out is even greater. And they're more fun and exciting and easy to tell your supporters about. So they're easier to fund than programs that are not well designed. And I'll just add one more bonus thing that's great about using this 4-part framework for program design is because you started out with a clear definition of the problem you're trying to solve and exactly what done looks like and what start looks like. When you go to start thinking about program measurement and success measurements or KPIs for your programs, it's going to be a lot easier to put those in place and then measure and refine and potentially brag about how wonderful your programs are. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Bye.